Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and I was gonna film a week in books, tarot, and art, and then it was 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and I think it's at 5 or 6 weeks now. So I might call it at present or something after Meg and Rachel, because it's not really a month in review either, even though it's March 1st as I'm recording it. It's just also part of January, and I haven't recorded anything in a good while. But that's because I've been doing things. One of the things is, so I had been in a bit of a tarot slump, and I got this Yunus 9th edition, because look at how green and delicious it is. I love it so much. It's my gardening deck now. It gets on nicely with my little seedling tray by my window. I started seeds I want to say 2 weeks ago, but I can't keep track of time for anything anymore. It's really, I have a weird relationship with time now. It's fun. But it's just so luscious and I love it. Yeah. So I've been having a lot of fun, mostly with this one. And then the other one I've been using is, so Tegan at Animals and Arcana has a Patreon animal gnosis thing, and she did a, what's it called, devotional deck, devotional companion deck, something, last month, and I think that workbook is for sale now on her Patreon. Anyway, so I followed along with the first week of that, and then went on a tangent. So that happens a lot. My whole life outside of work is tangents, sometimes at work too, honestly. And so I did the first week, and then I decided, since it's very Thoth, it's basically a Thoth clone, obviously some differences, but pretty Thothy, that I would listen to Fortune's Wheelhouse again. And so I'm up to the Two of Wands, which is maybe I don't know, is that a third of the way through, a quarter of the way through, maybe a quarter of the way through. Yeah. And then I went on another tangent with other things and haven't done that for a hot minute. But I will get back to this because I'm really enjoying it. And I still have the other weeks of the workbook, and it'll just become a multi-month project instead of a February project, and that's just gonna have to be fine because I don't know. So one of the other tangents I went down was bookish related. Oh yeah, here's a tangent from that tangent. Somehow somebody posted something in one of the discords I'm in about somebody who created for himself like a rewards card for the books he read. If he reads books on his shelf, then he gets to go buy more books. And I was like, why don't I have that? I need stickers. So I got some stickers. This is very much 9-year-old me. And so I went back to just January and put stickers for any books that I read that I had bought prior to 2026. Like I read them this year, but I had already owned them. So it won't include any books I buy this year, but only books I read this year. And then for every 10, I don't know, buy more books probably. Is what's going to happen. And then I finished the January book club late. So Life on Books is a YouTube channel that has a book club. And I joined it this year because they were doing 100 Years of Solitude, and it's a book I'd been thinking about rereading for a while. And I'm glad I did. I still really loved it. The writing's beautiful. The translator is incredible. The book we're reading in March now actually is by the same translator. Argentinian author though. It is a beautiful book. I love the structure of the book, like the looping of time is fascinating, and Solitude is really, like, it's a well-named book. At least in English, I don't know. Is that the Spanish title too? Yep, looks like it. There's a lot more incense and other sexual crimes of various sorts than I remembered. There's really a lot. there's a lot of like 13-year-olds getting married and this sort of thing, which no thanks. Also, apparently, the author didn't see a problem with that, with grown men with 13-year-old girls. So that's a bit gross and creepy, but sort of in keeping with the news headlines these days. Anyway, it was a very interesting book, and I love the structure of it, and the writing is beautiful. And yeah, translator was incredible. So I read that. I reread also The Scarlet Letter. There's several, actually, every single book. No, the audiobooks were not rereads. This was a reread though. I'd read it, like 20 odd years ago, either in high school or early in university. I borrowed it from my mom's school library. So I was either still in high school or had just graduated. And I remember feeling like it was very slow. I mean, it is slow paced. And so it's not a very long book. There's some other biographical and essays, and yeah, it's like 200 pages long, not even. So it's a short book. This is all the other stuff that I haven't read yet, but I will do eventually. Oh, my list of books to read is so long. It's so long. I need to not have to work in life. Why wasn't I one of these people born into money? Anyway, can't do anything about that. It was really interesting. I had a different perspective in this one. I really liked the woman in this one, this time through. Where, like, last time I felt sympathy for her, but I'm not sure I liked her. The father of the child on the one hand, I feel very harshly toward him because he's quite cowardly and lets her do most of the suffering. On the other hand, he is suffering, and I think maybe modern readers who haven't grown up in extremely rigid religious, like Puritan religious sort of environments, don't really understand what that can do to you psychologically, because yes, he certainly was suffering. And then the other man in the book was also a very interesting character, and I'm not sure I can really say much about him without giving things away, but yeah, I like his writing, Hawthorne's writing. I want to read the essays in this, and then I want to read The House of Seven Gables again. And he's got a bunch of other writing that, I'll probably read over the course of time, but Seven Gables I definitely want to read again, but like more slowly, so I can savor the writing, because he is a beautiful writer. Okay. Then I listened to Gisèle Pellicot's A Hymn to Life. And Virginia Roberts, Geoffrey's Nobody's Girl. And good Lord, they're both incredible women. Well, Virginia Roberts has passed away now. But oh my God, the incredible violence that these women have gone through is just so overwhelming. Gisèle Pellicot she was more mature when it happened to her, and so she has a more mature, I think, way of dealing with it, which is not to say a flawless way of dealing with it. I mean, I don't think that's possible to deal with something so horrifying in some kind of perfect, quote-unquote, way. That's not going to be a thing. But she is extraordinary. And her book is, like, oddly beautiful. I mean, obviously the things that she described having happened to her by her husband and the men he brought into their house were disgusting and so extremely violent. But the choices she's made since then in her life have been, I think, quite admirable. And Virginia Jeffries she was a kid when she was trafficked. She was assaulted by her father and then by other people, and then eventually ended up in Jeffrey Epstein's circle. And Of course, he's a monster. But Ghislaine, is that her name? Maxwell, also a monster. Ugh. There's got to be a special circle of hell for women who enable this sort of behavior, because that is disgusting. Anyway, she was a kid when this happened to her, so she obviously had a very different way of dealing with it that was not... I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it. Like, not as healthy, but of course it wasn't going to be. She was a kid. Like, you don't have coping mechanisms for the hard things in life when you're a kid. And nobody protected this kid. Like, the titles of both are actually quite good. Because Giselle Pellicotte, who goes by her maiden name now, Hymn to Life, I mean, that was really what she chose after all this. And Nobody's Girl is also quite an accurate title, because nobody once cared about this kid. And you just can't expect a person to thrive under those circumstances, and she did remarkably well for herself, all things considered, with almost no help from almost anybody ever, until eventually her husband, who may or may not have been domestically abusive. I don't know. It's a mess. So anyway, that was extraordinarily violent. So then things like Fortune's Wheelhouse were a lovely reprieve from that. Also, okay, these books are violent too, but they're fiction. Moi qui n'aime pas connu les hommes. I had listened to this in January, and I knew I was missing too much, like more than I was okay with. I feel like when you're learning another language, there's always going to be stuff you miss, and you just sort of have to be okay with that. But there was too much that I was missing. So I got the paperback and then listened while I read. And that was very helpful. And I understood much, much more. And I'd read it last year in English, so I knew the story. Like, I could tell that there were moments where I was like, oh, that must have happened by now. I missed that altogether. You know, things like that. So I went back and reread it, loved it. Finished listening to these two. I didn't read them at the same time, but I listened to them. In English, they are The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. Although I think probably generally I like the French and Swedish titles better. But these are the Stieg Larsson Millennium Trilogy, and I love these books. I love Lisbeth Salander and Mikael Blomkvist. Can't say his name. Apologies to Swedish people everywhere. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. And then the last things I read, which were a bit more lighthearted, despite the fact I know the author is an internet bully, I already had these, and so I was going to use them. I listened to, on Storytel, you can get audiobooks. So I was listening to the Arabic of the Philosopher's Stone and trying to follow along as best I could. I struggled mightily with that. I mean, I could follow sort of. I lost my spot repeatedly and only found it again because English names were in brackets, which they're not in the second one. But also in the second one, I'm now listening to it in Arabic, but reading it in English because the translations for the written and the audio are different, I think. So that's confusing. But, like, yeah, it just looks intimidating. I know it's just another alphabet, but it looks intimidating. And then the Spanish one as well. Sometimes I would read and listen to it at the same time. Sometimes just listen to it while I was doing the dishes or something. This one I'm not so serious about. It's just kind of a whim. I don't know. I felt like it, so I did. Because I'm an adult and I can do that. And then in arts and crafts, okay, I made... Let's get these out of the way first. I did some doodles of a path near me. What is that all going to be? Not really. Oh well, close enough. Nice ice and snow covered path. I had to walk along the grass on the edges. Those were just a couple quick sketches. And then I made a couple other quick sketches. And these were going to turn into paintings. I just wanted to get something down on the paper and play a little bit with Neocolor 2s, which are super fun, and like color mixing and what happens when you do. And then this has more colors, and obviously the mixing gets a bit muddier, but it's still quite fun. So anyway, I really liked these two, and I thought, oh, I'll just keep them. and then paint over the other ones, which I did, which I'll get to in a second. But I made a couple of books. So this is a concertina book. Whoops. This is all sort of abstract, but it's the same path that I showed before, like this path here down by the river, the icy river path. So this side is more realistic-ish. I mean, heavy on the ish. It's a little scribbly, but you know, you can kind of tell that it's a winter scene. And then this is much more the feeling of it and experimenting with materials and whatnot. So that was fun. So that's that. And then this is a wandering book, which I'd never done before, but is quite fun to take out on wanders, unsurprisingly. So I've done some little doodles in a few places already, just down by the river, because it seems like an ice and snow sort of a situation. So I painted just squiggles and whatnot on a piece of mixed media paper, and then I cut it up. So there's an upside down goose and a man stuck to his phone walking along the river, and then some other plants and stuff and nonsense. There's a water drainage, whatever you call these things. I don't know what they're called. Out something. Anyway, there are a bunch that I haven't drawn on yet, so I will take it out on a walk probably this afternoon, because I think it's still around about 0, but it's supposed to go up to something quite reasonable today. Oh, and so it doesn't all fold out properly. It goes on like little wonders. It's cut up sort of like that. So it's accordion, and then it turns a corner, and then it's accordion and turns a corner, and so on. So it's not quick to use, but that's okay. It's for meandering. And it's quite fun. And once I fill this one up, I probably will have to make one, because it's nice and pocket-sized. Just stick it in my pocket and doodle a duck. Whoops. So those are those. And then yesterday I did an experiment with, so there's some colors that I haven't used a lot of, anthraquinone red and Indian yellow. Indian yellow hue I've almost never used. And that's actually from India, Indian yellow. Like it's the Mogul color, I think. They've got a blue too that was a Mogul color. And then ultramarine blue I've used for a long time. But I just wanted to see, I'd never mixed these 3 colors together before and wanted to see what would happen. So I started with some purples because it's my favorite, and then made sort of as many neutral colors as I could. As soon as you add white, it does sort of turn into a gray situation instead of a lighter brown. It goes a bit more gray tinged, which was interesting. And then I made that while I was mixing. So I made a couple paintings that slightly stuck together. With playing with sort of the vibrancy of these colors, and especially the purples, with the muted tones of all 3 of them together. And it always amazes, like I know when you mix these primaries together, you get browns and grays and things, but it's always amazing what you can get. It never ceases to be amazing to me, at least it hasn't yet. I kind of hope it never does. So then I was playing with making the more vibrant colors pop, and then pushing them back by bringing out some more neutrals and doing that over and over again and piling up a bunch of layers. Also, all 3 of these are pretty transparent. Like you can see, this is a sort of purpley brown, and this is the more yellowy green and reddy orange, and they're all the only opaque ones are really when white gets added in. And so I played a bit with that, and you can see, well, maybe you can't on camera, I can't tell, but you can see like the greens in the background. And then I took a paint scraper to this one, so to get back some of these oranges and reds and blues and things underneath, and just get more texture. And it was because it was a fun thing I hadn't done before, really. So then you got little weird pops of orange and yellow, and it was kind of fun. And then this one, I didn't use a paint scraper and just layered up paint over and over again to see what the relationships would be between the more vibrant colors. Also playing with value with really dark colors, because the red and the blue get so so dark together they're almost black. And then white, so you can make it as light as you want. So I played with that a little bit, and it was fun. I'm pretty happy with the results. I was just sort of clearly not making very careful brush strokes. I was taking my stress out through a paintbrush, sort of like getting it out of my body and putting it on a piece of paper, which can handle it. So that was lovely. And I feel better today, so that was nice. It's a sort of coping mechanism for the world on fire. And is that everything? I think that's everything. Oh yeah, I have to plant some more seeds today. Purple mullein, which I have to plant. These 3 are going to be direct sown, I think. Just direct sown? Needs stratification period. Start indoors. Direct seed in garden. Start. That seems a bit contradictory. Oh well, I'll plant it outside. If it needs stratification, I might plant it now and see if it snows again. Probably will. Between now and May, it's inevitable in Calgary. But it's gonna be like +7 today, so I'm gonna go out on a walk and take my little wandering book. The geese are back, so maybe I'll say hello to them. And a pigeon has had pigeon babies on my balcony and made an incredible mess, so I'll have to clean that up too. Anyway, that was my, I don't know, last 5 or 6 weeks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.